Willie D Live.
It's Willie D, y'all, back with another episode of information and instructions to help you navigate through this wild, crazy, beautiful world. In the studio, Kool, Mo, D.
Yes, yo. Yes.
I ain't got to really say nothing else. You know what I'm talking about? You know, I really don't have to say nothing else. My Honda's the Weeses in this month. They don't say, see, I know you buy my Honda. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You know, they don't know. They call you Kool Mo D because they don't know, you know.
Like it.
But man, very good to see you, man.
Yes, sir.
Good to see you,
brother. Good.
Ladies and gentlemen, you don't understand. Without this guy's contributions, we may not be as far in hip-hop as we are. Right now, there's still an ongoing major hip-hop battle between Kendrick Lamar and Drake. How do you feel? Who do you think won? Who's winning this battle, in your opinion?
The best thing I can say, first of all, I think Kendrick Lamar is way more cerebral than people give him credit for. They focus on the battle or the skill set of going with whichever controversy, with the subliminal messages and the symbolism that he does in his lyrical content is over the top, quite frankly. And I just seen something online the other day about breaking down the Super Bowl performance. All the hidden messages or symbolism in the equation. I think most people are not paying attention at all, quite frankly, in my opinion. So, and quite frankly, if I want to be real honest, my favorite MC of the new eras, all of them, is J. Cole. He's my favorite, quite frankly. But Kendrick Lamar is kind of winning right now with Drake.
I love it, man. It's producing some really, really good music. We can do without the ancillaries, you know. We could do all of the sideshow. We can do without all of that because we know that don't go too far. You know, we saw how that went with Biggie and Pac.
Yes.
That was bad for hip hop.
Hated it.
So, you know, all of that, you know, the extra stuff, leave it over there. But, you know, the part where it inspire artists to go in and make great music, hey man, that's the beauty. That's the beauty of it. Akin to what you and LL did for the game. The mark that y'all left. Say, man, after y'all battled, y'all really didn't have to do nothing else. You really didn't have to do nothing else. And I'm sure that you are tired of revisiting this conversation.
Not really.
Not really.
It's always more like to put on it.
Okay, well, let's get into it, damn.
Okay.
You know,
Yes.
From my understanding, the beef started with when you heard LL say he was 18 making more than somebody's dad was making.
Yes.
And you consider that to be a slight toward fatherhood.
Over the top disrespectful to the black community. And I think as MCs, what people don't think about for me when I started, is why I'm coming here for this to speak of Malcolm X here, because I thought hip-hop was going to be the evolution of the revolution. I thought literally that was going to be the next platform. So to get to where it went to, and I understand record companies only here to make money, so quite frankly, I think my focus was never just making money. I wanted to make money, of course, to get out of poverty, so to speak. But making hip-hop at the very time when we started doing it was not about making money at all. We never thought it was going to make money. As a matter of fact, when it started making money, everybody was predicting its end from the very beginning. When Sugar Hill made a record called Rapid Delight, and that became pop and went commercial, they thought it was going to be over very quickly. And I had people constantly tell me, get a real job. That's not going to last. So from the very beginning, nobody thought it was going to last to be anything by 81. So at that time, I wasn't doing it to make money. I was doing it because I loved it. And the first time I ever saw hip-hop, quite frankly, is at the Audubon Ballroom when Malcolm X got killed. I went to see where Malcolm X got killed at. But I saw the coolest guys in the crew in the hood go crazy because the Grandmaster Flash was cutting up Hot Shot. He was cutting up Maybachsman. First time we saw it in Harlem. But he might have been doing it in the Bronx, but he did it in Harlem. And the coolest guys became unglued, and I lost my mind. So I said that was the thing I was going to do for the rest of my life from that point on. And simultaneously, we shut down gang violence in New York because gang violence was the underground thing, quite frankly, but it hadn't got prominent. We had a little, you know, theoretically, from a theater space, you had, what do you call it, the movie, The Warriors came out, and it got popular that way, but gang violence was not really that popular in New York as it became a rhythm around the world. And when hip hop started in 1979 for us, making music, when it got commercial, I thought it was going to be the next progression, the evolution of a revolution. I thought it was going to be the next step, quite frankly. So I thought I'm going to be able to do my Malcolm X thing on wax is what I thought I was going to do. So for me, I was looking at it way more seriously than most people. And LL's way younger, quite frankly, so I understood his position also. But most people did not think about what I was thinking about when I was coming into it. So I was focused on definitely making more political statements and making a whole lot of pro-black stuff or whatever. So the best time in hip-hop for me is when Public Enemy came out in 1987. I thought hip-hop had hit the zenith point because it went from Public Enemy, we had X-Clan, we had Lakim Shabazz, we had Poor Righteous Teachers. It got to this place where hip-hop was going so pro-black. I thought that's what it was always supposed to be, quite frankly. And I wanted to do that from the very beginning. So to get in that LL thing is like sidetracked me a little bit. But I was focused on Run DMC. I wasn't even focused on LL at that time because he wasn't that big yet. It was Run DMC was the king of the mountain. So
you could have fooled me because I thought you was fixated on LL. I thought you was like, man, I'm coming to get this little youngster. You know, like you had it on your mind. Not
even close. I was thinking about Run DMC, quite frankly.
Yeah.
And the whole thing with the LL thing is like because I responded to what he said. I put his Kengo under the Jeep.
Whose idea was that?
Ann Carly.
Okay.
A lady at my record company. I
Yeah.
put his Kengo under the Jeep in the picture for the album cover. So he's talking about LL. It wasn't about LL. That's the only song I said that had anything to do with him was In How You Like Me Now. So, and because it became a hit single, everybody thought he's talking about LL. I was like, that started the whole thing. And that's when, they say, when the people around you start to say what's happening before you say, it's like you responded to what they're saying more than what you're actually doing. So I'm responding to what they're saying. And see, he did also, quite frankly.
Whose idea was it for you to do those L's on Let's Go? I mean, you had me looking in the dictionary, like for some of them words you was dropping. I like, what the hell does this word mean? But it made me step my game up, though.
Well, that's the other point. The point of it, just being honest about my ego at the time, because I could rhyme or talk about things where I had a pretty big vocabulary. I said, let me do this to make sure I make it a point. And he did it before me, quite frankly, because he said LL, Lazy Long Lover. He said it on one of his records. He had that.
So you just flipped it. That's right.
Let me tell you what LL stands for, yes.
That's right. He did.
So I said lower level. And really, I was going into the basement of my apartment. I just moved in the apartment. I pushed the LL and I said lower level. Started the whole rhyme right there. I'm writing a whole rhyme about that. Lower level, lackluster, lastly, live in public. I got it. So I put that in the hip hop because I thought that'd be something to say your name means this. So I thought that's a way to do a nice little dig at you.
Are you the first rapper to ever use the word lame in a song? Because you said lame in that song.
I'm not sure if I'm the first, but I definitely know I did it for sure.
Yeah. Going back to the battle.
Mm-hmm.
If you could battle any rapper today, a hot rapper today, who would you target? And I would assume that you wouldn't just be battling just to be battling. You battle on principle.
Yes.
Somebody's saying something that you don't like, you feel like you got to get at them. So what artist out there that's hot that may have said something that you didn't like, if you wanted to come at somebody, who would you go get today?
Personally, I don't see anybody that's really saying anything out of pocket in general in terms of what I don't like or what they represent. And like I said, again, I think Kendrick Lamar is absolutely way more cerebral than people are giving him credit for. He's way more cerebral than he is giving credit for. But I wouldn't think of anybody. And my favorite MC of all the newer guys is J. Cole for sure. I like Drake also, but he's more commercial than everybody else. But I don't think there's anybody I can think of, quite frankly.
Yeah. When you and L was battling, did it ever reach a point to where y'all wanted to lay hands on each other? Did you ever feel like threatened or felt like you had to,
Well, not for me, because what a lot of people don't know, and I'll just tell you also, I really thought I was going to be a boxer before MCing. So I was, and when I went on Arsenio, I heard what he said about fighting me, whatever. I said, I'd beat him in that also if it got down to it. And I said, really, quite frankly, where my ego worked at the time, it's like, I hope we did fight, because I would absolutely have a reputation over the top. Kind of like, when you knocked out Millie Mel in the boxing thing, it would have been over the top on my side, quite frankly.
Yeah.
So I said I had more skills than people understood. So, again, I was really going to box before emceeing. And so much that I was at the PAL and training for the 1980 boxing team that went down in a plane crash. A lot of people don't know that. The 1980 boxing team went down in 1980.
Sad, all the champions.
And if I'd have made that team, I'd been on a plane. So I was glad I didn't make it. I'm glad I chose hip-hop, because I had a choice to either choose hip-hop or boxing, quite frankly.
Yeah. If there was boxing today, how many of these guys do you think would actually get into the ring, rather than saying, I want to pull out a gun? Would they choose to draw a gun, or would they actually get into the ring and settle their differences?
Ancient Chinese secret, most people, most brothers that I know at this time really can't fight, quite frankly. They really have no skills, really. And I'm talking about knowing what to do and how to protect themselves. And I even saw something great as Mayweather, as I saw him get caught with the left hand because he caught a left hook, but he got to put his left hand up after he threw a jab or threw a hook. So a lot of mistakes are being made on a daily level. Because when people talk about fighting, I'm going to F you up, I'm going to get you up. You're talking about what you're going to do to him. And my claim to fame at the time was I was a defensive savant. So I even thought, and I literally, this is no breaking news, but I really, really thought I could beat Mike Tyson, quite frankly. That's why my ego was. I genuinely thought that. Even to the point when when the thing happened with you and Melly Mel, people calling me, yo, what you gonna do? Like, I love Mel, but what the hell? What do you mean? What am I gonna do? Like, I have no idea what that was about even. So, and I saw it on the internet later, but that's where it was. I was really, really talking about boxing for sure.
Man, you know what's crazy, man? I love Mel too, man. But I'm glad I came out on the other side of that victory, man, because people would not let it go, especially New Yorkers.
Absolutely.
They would not let it go.
Absolutely.
I'm trying to keep it moving, man, but they ain't trying to let that go. You got a communications degree.
Yes.
Yeah, from the State University of New York of Old Westbury.
Old Westbury, yes.
Yeah, and it was right after you got that degree that you put out How You Like Me Now,
yes.
Right? So did you use any of the teachings that you learned while at Old Westbury and put it into your music? Or was the music thing already in motion and, the stop at the university to get that degree was just a bump in the road, so to speak?
Well, to make it more clear, personally, the reason How You Like Me Now was even made is because at the time because I was with the Treacherous Three first. My hip hop started with Treacherous Three.
Yeah, salute to the Treacherous Three.
Yes, and this is like in the early 80s. And I'm in college at the same time. So I went in college, and a lot of people saying hip hop is not going to go on there, it's not going to last, blah, 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 blah. So my How You Like Me Now was talking about to the rest of the world, like, it worked, it lasted, it did what it did, and now How You Like Me Now. It's kind of like my last laugh at the time. So I wasn't using it, but I was bragging about it from that standpoint. And I took a lot of my friends to the Soul Train Awards or whatever, Soul Train, the show, because I was bragging to them in college because they were saying, Run DMC is hot now, what you going to do, what you doing? Because you know how the hood is. There's a whole lot of naysayers when you're doing something. They're not against you, but they're not rooting for you either. It's like, you're going to mess up, what's up. So my How You Like Me Now was more of a statement to them. And I was talking about the industry in general when I said How You Like Me Now. And because I put LO's picture on his Kangol on the Jeep and on the album cover, people thought I was talking about him. But I was talking about really focused on Run DMC, quite frankly, and talking about the industry in general, How You Like Me Now.
Yeah. Who exactly thought that you could only rock rhymes and only rock crowds, but never rock records?
That was the crowd. That was the naysayers for the most part, because people were always saying, even the people that did say I could rhyme was like, but you can't make a hit record. So
and to be fair to them,
yes,
that ain't the easiest thing to do, to transition from a battle rapper to a rapper who can make records. Because I started off battle rapping, and most of the guys that I know who battle rap, they were not able to make that transition.
Yes, it's very hard to really conceptualize writing a song in context of a hook and getting people to respond to it and feel it, because a lot of people don't understand it's a lot of thought that goes into it. So I give credit. That's why I said I have nobody that I would pick out right now to battle, because I understand the thought process before doing it. So a lot of times people are just becoming popular because of their skill set, and a lot of people become popular because of music on the skill set. So the music is driving a lot of the heat and a lot of the hits more than the rhyme itself. So for me, I just always paid attention to the rhyme very, very seriously. I took it very seriously. And like I said, How You Like Now is really, really a statement to the whole industry about saying, for those that even Run DMC, because I heard him say one time, yeah, but you can't make a record. Yeah, you got a reputation. People on the streets know you, but you can't make a hit record. And they were definitely kings of the mountain without question. And crazy.
They said that about you?
Yes. And the crazy thing was, like, in New York at the time, it was very hard to be fans of somebody, loving them at the same time without them saying you jocking or sweating or doing whatever. Like, I just like your music. That's all, dude. It's not, what's all the attitude about? So we had the kind of moxie thing with each other. Like, I'm making records, I'm hotter than you. So, and even before that, with Furious 5, when I was at Treacherous 3, they thought that they were bigger than us because they had hit records. They had The Message and other hit records before that, Freedom, whatever. So we got them right back in '81 when we had a Heartbeat, because Feel the Heartbeat was the big record of that year. So we were battling with the hot records for the most part. So it got to the point where we're always talking smack to each other no matter what. So it's very braggadocious. The position of New Yorkers is very, very condescendingly cocky.
Yeah, absolutely. I know. Because, we had to get over that hump, to get that respect. It was like, you from where? Man, you ain't from New York, man. You get the hell up out of here, bro. And that went for anybody outside of New York. So
New York has had an arrogance, over the top arrogance.
Yeah. One of the other things that I would notice about New Yorkers, some of the New Yorkers, even if they liked something from outside of New York, they would not say it boldly and publicly. They would not state that publicly. They would just kind of keep it to themselves or say it between the person that they think it wouldn't let it out. Right. That part I couldn't understand that. I witnessed that firsthand, being on the ground in New York when a guy did that once. We was hanging around and the guy was talking about how much he loved some of the music from outside of New York, and then a New Yorker pulled up and he stopped talking.
I think truthfully a lot of people don't want to admit this. In my opinion, what comes to New York is an elite insecurity complex, because we really think we're better than everybody for the most part. That's why we call people from outside of New York Bamas or whatever, like as a diss, like, oh, you a Bama, you don't know nothing. We're smarter than everybody. On the other side of it, what they won't admit is they're very insecure with their stature. They're very insecure with it. So being the biggest rapper in New York, you're very, very threatened when somebody else from outside of New York comes in and gets that same kind of stature. Mm. So that's why we had such a hard time giving us the South props and the West Coast. New York had a very hard time giving props up to the East and to the South and the West Coast, quite frankly, because when the South started dominating, there's nothing we could do about it. And I'm a perfect example, like the Source Awards. And I think Outkast, somebody out there said, South got something to say. Because everybody could feel it, because New York had a very elitist kind of attitude about this is the place that hip-hop started, blah, 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 so it can't be anywhere else. And if you're paying attention, if you got any sense and you're paying attention, it's going to take different forms in different places, and it's going to have different places. And I've seen with my own two eyes, Big Daddy Kane is on fire, but had a show with Hammer, and people were yelling for Hammer in the show because we were outside of New York. It's like the world is not about New York. New York is about New York, but the world outside of New York is not about New York. So we have to learn the hard way a lot of times.
What do you think about the current condition of hip-hop?
Unfortunately, in my opinion, I think the thing that we never really put together to this day, the colonizer and the oppressor is really dictating what we do. Meaning, and I said I was one of the most frustrated rappers of all time, because There's so much stuff that I wanted to say, I never got to say because the record company would not back it. So, and they would tell you things like, that's not hood enough. Your hood don't want to hear that. Like, how do you know you haven't been to my hood ever, and you have not been to any hood that I know of? So how do you know what the hell the hood wants? So when the things work and they make money, they just focus on the record companies trying to make money. They're not trying to make a consciousness of making any kind of movement, which is why I thought the best time in hip hop history was when Public Enemy came out in 1987 and 88 and 89. We had X-Clan, we had Lakim Shabazz, we had Poor Righteous Teachers. When it got to the place where it was so pro-black, that's when I was in bliss. I thought it was over the top. I thought we were there for sure. But again, when the gangster rap started getting more promoted, and it wasn't like, and I love Snoop together, I love Dre, I'm Snoop, Dre, and Ice Cube for sure. But the company putting money behind that, I thought was very, very counterproductive for us, quite frankly. And I thought that New Not New York, just the industry is always about what they put the money behind. So in this case now, we at Entropy, we at a point now where hip hop is now taking the form of what's going to be the most popular, could make the most money for the record companies, not for the artists in particular.
You earlier mentioned that you were really serious about writing music. You were serious about the songs.
Yes.
In retrospect, you wasn't paying too much attention to the business side. And had you paid as much attention to the business side, and others like you, and including myself, because I came not too far after you, perhaps hip-hop would be in better shape than it is today, because we were focused more on being the talent.
Artistic, yes.
We were focused more on, the artistic side of hip-hop, and others had their minds and eyes solely set on getting paid.
Yes.
And now the paid side has eclipsed the artistic side of hip-hop. And now we are in trouble. And it's like guys like you and I, we don't run hip-hop. We don't own hip-hop.
Right.
And so, but we love hip-hop, and it's gotten away from us. Do you foresee any way of getting it back? Because it's not going to get on track by the people who currently run it. They're not going to put it on track.
Right.
It's running just the way they'd like it to run. Get money, get money, get money. Destroy yourself, destroy yourself, destroy yourself. That's the message. That's at least what I get.
Self-destruction. Yes. Well, I think, quite frankly, and I was naive starting it because I just wanted to get a record and get a record deal, make it become popular, make money, whatever I could do. But it's like, it's crazy to think that your oppressor would ever give you a position to not be oppressed. Mm-hmm. And the record company is always only trying to make money. We're focused on what we focus on. The record company is only trying to make money every time, no matter what you do. They focus on, for us back in the day, it was like, make a radio hit so that we can make more money. And translations, like anything about consciousness, anything about unity, or anything about black power, we're not going to back it. We're not financially back it. And that's what makes a difference in all the hip hop for the most part. And now we have people that are doing things on a executive level, but they're taking on the same kind of formation thought process of the overseer. It's like they want to make money because now they're in a position to want to make money. They're only focused on how to make money. So it's almost like the same thing all over again, quite frankly. A different boss, but it's the same situation.
Yeah. You strike me as the type of guy that is like very focused, intentional, you're direct, you're serious. And at the same time, you're the guy who is unbothered. That. How do you balance that duality?
I think, again, I just did an interview earlier, and I was just saying the key for me personally, which I think this works for everybody, would work for everybody, to be able to think past, present, and future simultaneously. Where did it come from? How did I get here? And where's it going? And what can I do to make it better for the next person or the next generation or whatever? To do that simultaneously all the time is how you work, in my opinion, Bert. The best way to work, quite frankly, because if you think about just now and in the moment, you lose every time because it's going to change no matter what. It's going to change. The only thing constant is change. And what it changes to, you have no idea where it's going to change to and where it's going. So if you can think past, present, and future simultaneously in the moment, that's the winning formula, quite frankly.
Yeah. And you know about a winning formula, man. You've had a stellar career. You've really been to the top of the mountain in your game. It ain't a lot of people who can say that. But having said that, is there anything that, during the course of your career, was there at any point where you felt you desperately needed some advice and you didn't get that advice? And what was it?
The only thing I would say, again, is how to counter, because you got to be very careful, because the record company, again, is always talking about neutering your voice and making sure you're popular.
Wow, neutering your voice.
Yes.
Wow.
Don't say what you want to say.
Wow.
Say what's appropriate to say. A lot of times, because I could just fly off the handle and say a lot of things just really cut close to the curve. So, and like, again, calling the colonizers is offensive. I'm like, but the colonizers doing everything we're talking about. But don't call the guys colonizers. I was like, don't call a slave master a slave master.
Don't call a racist a racist.
Yes, you got to be politically correct. Like, why do I have to find another way to say that? Because you don't want to offend the guy that's spending the money on you. And that's where you realize your property. And like, okay. So it's a hard pill to swallow, quite frankly.
Yeah. You got kids?
No.
No kids.
Intentionally.
And you did. And why? Why not?
I did not want, and this is from childhood, and I said one thing that people don't pay attention to, my opinion. In poverty, the boy and the girl is pitted against each other. We're attracted to each other while simultaneously being pitted against each other. The girl definitely wants to have children, and the boy definitely does not want to actually go broke trying to have a child, whatever. So a lot of times, you want to have sex, but you don't want to be a man yet. You want to grow up like a boy, but you still want to have sex. The girl wants to have sex, and I've been in this situation lots of times. She wants to have sex with me because she's a little girl, but she wants to be pregnant. I'm like, I'm not trying to have babies. So I had that mentality from very early. And I used to always say back in the day when I was younger, I needed a woman to be a girl to think beyond her maternal instinct. Think beyond your maternal instinct. Just like a boy has to think beyond his youthful carnal instinct, quite frankly. Because a lot of times we thinking, I want to get it, I want to get it. But then if you understand what comes with getting it, then you think differently about it. But you had to grow up and mature into that phase. Because you see the cute girl, it's like, oh, she's cute and she's kissing, I want to do what I want to do. But you have to grow up to realize the consequences that come with that. And again, when a girl gets pregnant, you have no right over what she does with her body. So if she wants to have a baby, you have a baby, whether you want it or not, quite frankly. So I was very aware of that very young, quite frankly. So that was what kept me off it from the very beginning. So I said I was not ready to have a child when I didn't want to have a child. I didn't want to have that extended to the older age because I just didn't trust very easily, quite frankly, either way. And having you make a decision for me, like having a child, was a very frustrating concept for me to grasp and come up with when I was younger. Like, I'm a teenager, and you're a teenage girl, but you want to have a baby. I don't want to have a baby at all yet. But I love what you look like. I love what you feel like. I love it. I want to do it. Oh, my God. But why do you want to have a baby? So we're pit against each other from the very beginning. I said a lot of people don't pay attention to that part. We're pit against each other because of poverty. And the poverty circumstance is dictating more the decision for me than the actual carnal lust situation. The poverty situation was dictating the thought process for me. And I said I needed a girl to think beyond her maternal instinct.
Right. Yeah, that's different.
Yeah.
That's absolutely different. Because I thought about poverty a lot myself while thinking about children while in poverty, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, I'm going to have to get some money because these kids are expensive. And even if they're not expensive, just the fact that you're working to pay bills and to, give your kids a quality life, that ain't enough for me. I need a lot more. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
Yeah, did you ever DJ for Zulu Nation?
No.
Who put that out there? Have you heard that before?
Never heard that at all.
Yeah, somebody told me you was a DJ for Zulu Nation. Was you ever a part of the Zulu Nation?
No, very midway when it got popular. I think somewhere happened in the early '90s. It became the thing to be associated with, quite frankly. And I was always like, back to the ego part of it. My ego was always that thing where I would never be a part of a gang because I was a solo thought process mindset. Mm-hmm. And I was in the group Treacherous 3, but I stayed solo because I didn't want to deal with the intangibles of a group anymore. Just because the way the Treacherous 3 broke up, LA Sunshine quit. LA Sunshine said, we're not getting paid, and he knew money was there. And he said, if it came down to it, I'm going to wind up shooting Sylvia Robinson, who was our boss at Sugar Records at the time. Mm. And so he didn't make records, and he said he wouldn't do it anymore. And Special K wanted to be a solo artist, quite frankly. And I just hated being dictated to by other people's decisions and opinions. So I stayed solo, quite frankly. I didn't go solo. I got left to be solo. A lot of people don't get that. I didn't leave the group. The group left and broke up, disbanded.
Y'all just disbanded.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you have any type of relationship with Africa Bambaataa?
No, did not. As a matter of fact, the time I met him, it was kind of really just quick, hi, shake hands and bye, whatever. I appreciate what he did and what he stood for. So, and then when the rumors and all that stuff started coming out about that or whatever, I said, I just dissociated myself altogether because I don't want to be connected to all of the thought process of what was going on as decadent side or whatever at the equation. I couldn't prove it. I didn't know if it was true or not. I just kept my distance either way. So that was I didn't want to be a part of a group either on no level at that point.
Yeah.
Solo-minded.
Yeah. Well, what do you think about all this stuff that's going on with Diddy?
Really, really, really unfortunate. I can't confirm or co-sign anything, whatever. I think for me, in my personal opinion, again, he's of a generational thought process. I'm saying of a generational thought process because I said for me, the first sellout in the hood is a drug dealer, and people don't look at it that way. And
expound on that.
The first sellout is a drug dealer because I'm just trying to feed my family is not an answer for you to be able to kill my family. You can't kill my family because you're trying to feed your family. So you're the first sellout. And we co-sign that and be cool. It's like, he's just trying to eat. He's not just trying to eat. He's killing your family while he's trying to eat. You're creating a climate that makes black on black the worst thing on the planet. You're killing black people trying to make a living. And the oppressor is absolutely loving that. And I said, they love a drug dealer. Your colonizer loves a drug dealer because you're killing your people to feed yourself. So I said, nah, you can't get a pass from me. So I was very, very hard on it. So I never smoked, I never drank, never got high. And it wasn't about being a goody-goody. It's like, I'm not going to... Back in the day, when I talk about being at my peak, I was at the peak of my game on the Budweiser Superfest. I fell out with them because I would not make a Budweiser commercial because I come from a mother who was an alcoholic, functioning alcoholic. And I said, you're not going to use my popularity to help me sell beer, even though it's legal. I don't care if it's legal. It's detrimental to the black community, quite frankly, because we had so many drug addicts and alcoholics in our community because nobody plans to be an alcoholic. You become an alcoholic because you constantly do something that nobody checked. So for me, I thought it was counterproductive. And I was always looking at the bigger picture all the time and thinking the past, present, and future always works for me no matter what, either way.
You didn't have any trepidation about going on the Budweiser Superfest tour, them selling Budweiser and making money off of our people with that beverage? You know, like, it seemed like to me, if that's how you felt, you would have just said, you know what, I'm not going to even associate my name with a beer company at all.
That was the other part of it. Back to thinking things all the way through. Coming up from younger is an opportunity. Go on tour, yes. And then going on tour while I'm on the tour and the executives start coming at you and they want you to come and do a promotion for a song, like, then you start to get the bigger picture now. It start to hit me while I'm on tour. So I wound up going off the tour by the end of the tour because I really got what it was happening while I was on tour. You're not thinking about that when you first sign a contract, like, yes, I'll go on tour. How much money? Damn, I'm poverty. I'm where? Bet I'm on tour. Who's on what guy? Who else? Patti LaBelle. Who else? I'm excited about who I'm with and what I'm doing now. I'm not focused on the bigger picture. The bigger picture was I can't sell. And then when they came to me with want me to do a commercial, that's when it would start to hit me like, oh, I can't do this. Couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah. If you really think about it, man, if you really just start breaking it down, we can find some wickedness in about any product that we support. You know what I'm saying?
Keyword
Like
wicked.
if you really think about it,
Yes.
like even cars, like most of us, we use cars for transportation.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, tens of thousands of people die in car wrecks every day. I mean, you know, every year, right? You know, we could find fault in using our cell phones. You know, like how many people how many people use cell phones to plot murders? And I mean, we could go on and on and on, but I guess it's just one of those situations where you say to yourself, well, I can do this, but I'm not going to do that.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you have to pick and choose what you're going to do, whatever. So
Yeah.
and it's why to this day, I've never bought a laptop. I do not have a laptop to this day because I'm sure, this will be a big statement for the most part, it's in the word artificial intelligence. It's not real. Artificial intelligence, and it's popular. So we have so much things being done by AI. It's like something feels demonic to me. Like something else. It's like we're being set up for something that I can't tell what's going to happen. I don't know what it's going to be. But something, here's a perfect example. I'm in a hotel. I'm trying to check in to see if you got any rooms. The person says they won't take my ID or my money. You got to go check in online. I'm like, what is your interest in me checking in online? I'm in the hotel right now. I got my ID and money. Why are you not going to check and see if you have any rooms? You have to check in online. I said, what's that about? So why are you making me go online to make a reservation? I'm here right now in front of you. I'm here right now, and I'm wondering why they're making me go online. I can't understand what's happening. And I think something's being set up, and I can't tell what's going to happen, quite frankly. But it's like we're too interested in me being online to do everything. Why is a company or a person right here at a company, I'm here in person, why are you forcing me to go online to make a reservation? I really do not trust the internet, quite frankly, on a certain level. It seems like it's under the auspices of convenience, but it's really, really about control, and we're losing so many freedoms that we're not paying attention to, in my opinion, quite frankly. We're not paying attention to a level of convenience of freedom being lost.
So it sounds like to me you didn't take the jab.
No.
You didn't take it.
Absolutely. And that was the other thing. And I said, I can't unknow what I know. So in doing the research and finding out what it's about, it's like, then I've lost girlfriends because I'm having this. It's like you got to be careful about oppression. The colonizer is oppressing us on a daily basis. Some things are really covert, some things are overt, some things are inadvertent. But the covert part is like, you make the choice. But what's really at the end game? What's the end game? And I said again, back to being pitted against each other as children, as adults. It's like, why do you get a tax break because you got married? What's in it for them? So I keep saying that for the next generations, what I'm talking about now, for my MC skills, what I do it as an MC, I'm talking to the next generation, not our generation and the generation before us, because we're in survival mode. As a generation, we're trying to survive. As a black man, a black woman, whatever, we're being taught to survive, not to thrive. And hip-hop was a chance to thrive, try to thrive. So by surviving, I'm like, what is going on really? What's the hidden message? What are they not telling us? What is really in it for you with us being married? And I said, when you get married, you're not marrying the person, you're marrying the system. You're co-signing the system at the very least. So I say it's a bigger problem that we're not paying attention to, quite frankly.
You know, you own something, man. You own something because there's always something in it for them.
Yes.
Anytime they try to make it seem like they're doing something for us, it's really for them. Like, anytime they're handing out money to us, they make sure they get their cut off the top.
Absolutely.
They're never going to do anything for us without it being the end game being doing something for themselves.
Absolutely. And I think we have a hard time even differentiating the difference between us and them. Because they say, well, who is us? And I say, not them. Period. It's real simple. It's like,
Right.
then we don't know how to define it anymore because we're so busy trying to do with them. And I'm like, some part of patriotism is really like Stockholm Syndrome. To be patriotic is Stockholm Syndrome. You traffic Africans, you kidnap us, and then once to say, hey, you kidnap us, I can't be patriotic, quite frankly, I said. So one thing that I had very, very big problems with as a child is like thought process of being patriotic and like I can't be like gung-ho about this country. I'm seeing oppression. America has done more things to me than they ever did for me in my lifetime. It's a landslide, not even close. Way more things to me than they did for me ever. And I'm talking from trafficking Africans, from slavery, from the slave trade on up. So I've been on that from very, very, very beginning. So it was very hard for me to just get along and just go along to get along, quite frankly.
Do you stand for the pledge? Star Spangled Banner?
One of the reasons I was late to school every day, lived 2 blocks away from the school. I was late every day because I would fake having to go to the bathroom to be late because I did not want to say Star Spangled Banner.
Yeah.
I used to get in fights. I stopped going to Knick games because when I got popular, Mark Jackson used to give me tickets to Knick games. And they would say, please stand up and rise and remove your hats. Automatically, I'm not taking my hat off. Not that I care about my head, but I'm not taking my hat off. And I don't want to say the Pledge of Allegiance. You got to be kidding me.
Was you aware of that third verse where you talk about killing slaves back then, or you just didn't want to stand for it because you didn't believe in the creed?
I just didn't believe in the creed. But I heard about the third verse later, and I was really, really over the top. That took it over the top for me. Like, really? That's the third verse? And they took it out? Like, and that's what I mean again. They had that verse in there, but you take it out because you wanted to sing this. Like, I can't do it. Mm-hmm. And I never forget, I lost friendships because I almost said the company, but they called me and asked me to say the national anthem somewhere, and I just cursed the person out on the phone. It was a big popular company again. So I've actually done damage a lot with a lot of companies, couple of companies, because of what they wanted me to do. And it's not that simple for me. So it goes against the grain of my whole thought process altogether.
Yeah. Yeah, Francis Scott Key, boy, that dude was a raging racist. I mean, like, he was one of the worst of the worst. It's got to be something really, really wrong with you to make a song that's supposed to be a pride song for a country and talk about murdering people in the song. And it's got to be something sick about you to want to uphold that message after all that time. And after discovering that this guy really was a racist and he did call for a section of our people in this country to be murdered, to be slaughtered.
Wow.
Unjustly, you know? So, yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm not going to be silent so anybody can be comfortable. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be silent for, an oppressor, or an enemy to be comfortable.
Absolutely.
They can forget it.
Yes.
Man, how was it like working with Quincy?
I would say the ultimate experience of my life, quite frankly. Rest in peace. I was really affected. Like, you weren't that close to him. I called him every birthday, March 14th. It's gonna be crazy not calling him this year for the first time. But I called him every year on his birthday since we met in 1989.
That's dope.
I'm back on the block. And he's absolutely, like you talk about that device thing or whatever, he's like a sage to me because he has a wealth of information, and not just musically, but historically also. So he was able to break a lot of things down for me, quite frankly, and give me a wealth of wisdom and knowledge without question.
What was a normal conversation like with Quincy? Like, get on the phone. Quincy was just always was a player,
Yeah, he had that jazz lingo. Hey, what's going on? What's going on, Kool? What's up, Kool? He called me Kool. What's up, Kool? So yeah, but he always give me sage advice about things that I didn't want to do. Quite frankly, it's like I had a TV show opportunity, and he was saying, get in and then make the. He said, don't make the move before you get in. Get in and make the move. Quite frankly. And I said, I understand it. But again, I said, no disrespect at all. As Quincy Jones is from a different generation, so I understand the survival mechanism. I said my survival mechanism comes from hip hop. We kind of go against the grain from the door. So I understand what you're saying, but I can't do it that way. So I couldn't, because we had a chance to do something with Dick Clark at one time at a TV show, and Quincy was saying, just go along with what they say. You get in and get the deal, then you change it, which I understand. It was sage advice without question, because my TV show's not been on our air for that's 20 years at the very least. But he said, get in and you can make all the changes once you get in. Once you they make them commit their money first, then change it.
Isn't that what politicians do?
Yes. Yes.
They figured it out. I mean, they cracked the code. And I think that's like, it's a learned like art for people like you who stand on business, who stand on integrity, to have to try to navigate through these treacherous, no pun intended, fake waters.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, you do have to kind of bait and switch sometimes to get what you want. I mean, this is how they got the land from the Indians.
Yes.
You know, like, hey, we come in peace. The whole time they smuggling in guns and putting themselves in position, and then, all right, attack. You know, so that's that's an old play, you know, from 48 Laws of Power. You know, and you know, it's effective.
Yes. It's
effective. So you have to kind of like, if you're designed the way you are and the way your mind is, you know, where you lead with integrity, you know, it takes a little time to try to work through something like that.
Lots of practice, boy. Good Lord.
Yeah. Teddy Riley.
Mm.
I did not know that Teddy Riley produced How You Like Me Now, but it makes sense.
Absolutely.
Because it definitely has that New Jack swing to it. And I never thought about associating you with being a forefather of New Jack, the New Jack style.
Hysterical.
But you are.
Yes.
Like, you right there, man. Like right there on the cusp of that innovation. And you got a lot of accolades, man. You know, like, are you satisfied with your contributions, or do you want more?
I'm recording right now to do what I wanted to do, but I didn't do that back then because I had a record deal. So I'm starting my own label in my own situation to talk about what I want to talk about unfiltered, quite frankly, because I'm satisfied with what I did. But I understand also, because you have to, when you have a leadership position of being first at doing something, you have to be able to know what you're going to do, know what you're not going to do, and also be able to listen to other people's perspective. Because it was Teddy Riley that said to me, I understand where you're at, but you want the people to dance. I said, I don't want them to dance. Literally don't care. I'm trying to get my messages across. He said, again, just like a comedian, you have something to say, it goes over better with a joke than it does if it goes straight at them. Same thing with music. Your message will go over better if people are dancing. Don't just try to make them dance. I mean, he said, don't just hit them in the head and make them dance. You want people to dance. He said, if they're dancing, then the message will seep into them. Like, what? Well, that's what he's saying, but I was so busy dancing, I didn't understand it. He said, that's a slicker way to do it. So he made sense again. And listening to that is why How You Like Him Now became out what it became out, because he put the James Brown swing in there and added the da-da-da-da. Because I was trying to make Run DMC's Adidas, quite frankly. That's the beat I had. And he just he just added it in. I said, okay. I started listening to it. It changed my whole flow up. Like, wow.
Yeah, it's that James Brown, Night Train.
Well, he did that. I'm saying that was on Go See the Doctor, quite frankly. That's the first record he did for me. He said, you want to make them dance. And it changed my whole flow up. So I was walking down the street, rocking my beat but I was trying to make Adidas. Doom, 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 doom.
Okay.
And then LaVeba, my manager, put the bass on. Doom, boom, 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 boom. And I said, okay, make it sing-songy. All right, I'll make it a sing-songy. go see the doctor. That's cool. And the message was still there, so I didn't lose anything from the message at all. So, and Teddy was definitely right because he said you wanted people to dance. So he added the swing on it, the New Jack Swing on it, and added a dance record. So I had one of the first New Jack Swing hits.
I know you sold a lot of records on Go See the Doctor. It was a popular record, but
Yes.
how did it go over in your community with the females and specifically, the females in your family?
Yes.
What did they think about that song?
The other thing about the New York attitude, arrogance, is 10 times with females also. Because the thing about women, and this is going to be probably controversial, but it is what it is. I'd say what it is. There are women that we know that are very, very loose, but out of all the loose women on the planet, none of them, they all think the other girl's a hoe. They would never say they're a hoe. No girl ever defines themselves as a hoe. We're talking about you. That's them. But you don't see yourself as them. You did everything the person did that you're talking about. You did the same thing she did. But nobody ever calls themselves or defines themselves as a whore, ever. But, well, you know how those girls are? That's kind of like the New York girl thing. No matter what they do, they're talking about the other girl very quickly. So when you talk about other women, it's like they laugh. I've had women that I slept with that I've even been in a situation with that I'm talking about as saying you talk about all those other girls. And you have no idea I'm actually talking about you, quite frankly, but okay. Because we have this kind of disconnect, disassociation, like, he's not talking about me. It's almost like the same thing to use, like, who you calling a bitch? Like the Latifah thing.
Mm-hmm.
He's not talking about me. Y'all bitches, he's not talking about me. He is talking about you, but New York, like, the New York mentality for the females, like, disassociate again. He's not talking about me, because I like the record. So he called them bitches, not me. He said, y'all bitches.
But that would be true for some women, though, because not all women would fit that particular description. They could just like the song, right?
Yeah, but New York women have a different kind of disassociation part of the equation that goes with it. Like, you keep talking about me, and I'm going to say it's not me because I know you're not talking about me. You can't be. Like, I'm really, really talking about you specifically. If you don't say my name, you're not talking about me. That's the way they separate and make things. So when they heard Go See the Doctor, they made sure it's like, nah, he's definitely not talking about me. Even if I was not, they didn't make a difference.
How did your family receive your success, your initial success?
The beautiful thing about my mother, quite frankly, functioning alcoholic, but she was absolutely over the top prideful, because the conversations we're having, me and my mother had daily, on a daily level, so she understood where I was coming from, and to see it, and to say, okay, we'll see what happens. And I'm saying, I'm going to make it work, I'm going to make it work. To see it work was a sense of pride over the top. Like, I would come home from school, and she'd have little people in the house, and she's singing my lyrics to them, whatever, like, listen to what he's saying here. She's breaking it down for them. So I loved it without question. And my father was the same way also.
Yeah. I know you love your mother, but did you, because she was an alcoholic, did you respect her?
Yes, over the top. Over the top. But it was very, very contentious because as you growing through puberty in that time period is also a thing that people don't really get. When a boy is becoming a man, he's going to challenge the authority figures no matter what. So to add alcoholism or drug selling in the equation, and I got my Malcolm X fire on me, whatever, I was very, very confrontational, quite frankly. And I would literally say things like, you could beat me till the cows come home. I'm not changing my mind. I'll take the ass whipping either way. So she respected it and laughed at it. My father laughed at it all the time. We still beat that ass, but he laughed at it all the time.
Did you inherit that? Where did you get that from? Like, where did you get that stubbornness? Because, the stubbornness has worked for you. Mm-hmm. Oftentimes it's worked for you, but sometimes it worked against you.
Yeah.
Like, where did that come from?
I guess for whatever, I get my first fatherly advice from my father is like, if a man hits you, hit him back. And number one, before don't do drugs, don't sell drugs or whatever, don't be no punk is his first message. So if I went home and felt like I didn't hit somebody back, I would think about it all day till the next day. I'm going to hit him tomorrow because I didn't hit him back today. I'm going to do it tomorrow. So that was instilled in me, like, do not be a punk was like the number one cardinal sin on my planet. in my family. Like being a punk was a cardinal sin. Like you cannot be a punk no matter what. If somebody beating your brother, don't jump in. Let him figure it out and fight his way out. Don't jump him no matter what. And if he's too big, then just jump him. If he's too big for you, then jump him. But if you're gonna fight, you're on your own. Figure it out. So I've had that thought process from a very, very young age.
What's your thought about these youngsters using weapons?
Again, I think it's the trick and the trap. It's like the subtlety of colonization is like what they have defined as cool. Like having a gun. And I actually pride myself on this even coming up. And I took my way out of it. In LA, the craziest thing I never forget, when I first got to LA, I didn't know how deep the gang thing was. So I got on all red in a blue neighborhood. No, all blue in a red neighborhood, so about that, the Yankee hat on. And, what set you from, cuz? And I immediately, I ain't from the fucking set, Papa. And he looked at his boy went to the car. I saw him go in there, and I told the girl, let's go. The girl I was with, and I was at a fish and chip shop. I said, let's go. They're going to get a gun. And she didn't know what happened. I said, it's time to go. So we left, and I said, I just couldn't back down because in my fabric, I don't know how to do that at all. But it would have been smart to just say, I'm not from any set, I'm from New York, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But I had to give him bravado. I couldn't help it. I didn't know what happened. It came out before I even thought about it, quite frankly. When I saw him go to get the gun, I said, oh, my God. He had a gun hidden under the garbage can. Like, wow. I get shot because I'm from New York, and I'm in a Yankee hat, really.
Not because you're from New York, but because you got those colors on.
Yes.
And you didn't identify. Because, my cousin lives in L.A., and when he was 11, this kid was playing football, straight A student, just low-key, no gang affiliation. He's hanging out one day with his buddies. They're just walking down the street, a couple of girls. Little dude, his age, pull up on a bicycle. Hey, where y'all from? Man, we don't bang. Little dude take off, come back 5 minutes later, open fire on him, hit him 8 times. He survived.
Wow.
But just the fact that they have this mentality, to pretty much try to destroy each other. And they're all in the same boat.
Absolutely.
Like, right? They're all in the same boat. And what tripped me out the most is that we don't have the same energy for them folks. We don't have the same energy for, the people that really actually designed the ghettos, and for you to be in this place, in this position in the first place, and for these gangs to continue to exist, not just exist, but actually thrive. Because remember back in, I believe it was 92, during the L.A. riots, and the gangs tried to come together, the Crips and Bloods tried to come together, and there was a truce for a minute. And intermittently, they came together and they did albums and stuff like that and other projects. And it was like the police was like, man, wait a minute, it's too quiet around here, man. Ain't nobody getting killed, ain't nobody dying. And it seemed like the police, they went and they crunk it back up. And they can do that, and they can get away with it because, they got the badge and the guns, and they can actually, they can put a case on you if they feel like they put a case on your mama if you don't cooperate, That's the part that really run me hot more than anything about a lot of our people. You got this no-fly thing for your people, but you ain't got no-fly for Taylor Swift.
Right.
Where's your no-fly zone for for Kid Rock or Donald Trump? Right. But you got that for your people. It's another arm of Stockholm syndrome.
Yes. Over the top. And I said it's very convoluted because we still cannot define is the difference is us and them. And they say who is us, not them. Who is them, not us. Very simple. Understand the dividing lines for the most part. And we're so caught up. A lot of us, I don't say all, a lot of us are caught up in trying to fit in. I'm like, and my book coming out is called The Un-American.
Is this your first book?
No, it's my first biography, but it's called The Un-American, My Truth. And we're gonna see how far it gets with the title either way, but that's what I'm talking about.
Are you finished?
No, it's coming up this summer.
You got the deal already?
No.
I can help you with that.
Okay, we will definitely talk, bro.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's dope, man. You know, that's definitely a read.
Yes.
The Un-American.
Yes.
You spell it with the dash, or it's just one word?
One word.
Yeah, Un-American.
Yes.
What artists out there in New York, specifically New York, when you were coming up, that you felt like, you know, besides Run DMC and LL, that you felt like that was I'm talking about your contemporaries, that you felt were somebody that if you could be in the same room with, in the same conversation with, you have arrived?
At the time, it was only Melly Mel for the most part, because the Furious Five was the group that we all focus on, for my age group.
Did y'all ever battle,
No.
treacherous
No.
against the Furious Five?
We were trying to, because of back to my ego and my personality, and Mel's ego and his personality, so it was definitely clashing that way. But I figured out very shortly, maybe like around '87, we became very, very cool at the time when all the heat was all over and the groups were broken up and dismantled. We became very cool afterwards, so he became one of my closest friends. Melly Mel and Grandmaster Caz for sure, because we were the first three in the archetype. As they say, the three lyricists or whatever. It was definitely myself, Melly Mel, and Grandmaster Caz. We were the 1, 2, 3 at that time, and we were the archetype that set the tone for the most part for the way that it went from that point on. And that's why when Run DMC said, you can rock rhymes, you can rock crowds, but never rock records. Like, that was the whole point. It's like, you got an underground reputation, but you'll have a pop reputation.
Yeah. Man, I just had a thought. I'm like, man, if people like you and Mel could have got in on the business side and, you know, just locked it down, man, you know, we would definitely be in a better space right now in hip-hop.
Definitely,
you know?
yes.
And that is why those who are following in your footsteps, who are coming into the industry, because there are some out there who do have integrity, who do take the art seriously. They need to make sure that they have, an equal amount of passion for the business side, because you don't want to build something and somebody else going to take it. So often we get preoccupied with building and doing and being the talent, and there's always somebody off in the back watching it and trying to figure out a way that they can monetize
Capitalize it, yes.
And they do.
It. Yes.
They do. Every single thing, anything that you do that creates a following can be monetized. And if you create it, if you're definitely a pioneer, you need to make sure that you got a piece of that action. You got to make sure you got a piece of it. And, that's actually part of the reason why I started doing the podcast. I wanted to make sure that I had a say-so in this business. Like I could speak on this instead of waiting to go on CNN and, them, giving me an opportunity to speak or deciding that they're going to censor me or, as you said, neuter my message. I wanted to make sure that, that was not the case.
Absolutely.
And when I think about, that it leads me to, a conversation we were having before the camera started rolling. You were talking about how you guys, Melly Mel and Sugar Hill Gang all performed for the 50 years of hip-hop at Yankee Stadium.
Yes.
Y'all were performing at that celebration, and you said that they had you guys, the legends, the ones who opened the doors, who made it happen, who are responsible for all of this, go on first in the daytime.
Yes.
When the crowd wasn't really thick.
Absolutely.
And then later on, they brought Snoop out, and
yes.
I think you said that was Lil Kim, Did you say Lil Kim came out?
Little Kim came out. Nas, all of them came out.
Yeah.
Later. Yes.
Yeah, right. And so that's where the business side come into it, right? But to your point, one of the biggest reasons why, hip hop, gets basically shitted on is because of the lack of respect for the pioneers, the people who started it, the roots, so to speak. When you look at football, baseball, basketball, they never let you forget the legends.
Right.
The legends are not a backdrop. They're in the front. Everybody know. That's why we know the legends in football, basketball, baseball. They talk about them all the time.
Right.
They talk about them all the time. It's not just a special event. It's not only when there's a big award show and there's a Legends Award or something. No.
Right.
But even in music, if you look at the Grammys, they make sure that you know who the Rolling Stones are.
Right. Right.
Oh, they on stage. They're not performing during the Grammys when the cameras are not rolling. They're in prime time.
Mm-hmm.
You see, Rolling Stone performing. They're going to let you see Bruce Springsteen performing while it's going down. You're not going to see these guys performing after, or when the cameras are not rolling. But hip hop, we don't have that.
Right.
And that's the trip part about it is a lot of the youngsters, they're not gonna catch what I'm saying right now. They're in it, they're just having fun, they're spending money. But they're in a better position to take control right now and take stewardship of this thing right now than they would be after their glory days and then trying to come back and trying to make something happen. Right now they got all of the juice, they got all of the power. Now it's the time to venture into ownership. That I think I'm talking about for the ones who really want it and who want to uphold the integrity of the game. Your contributions to this game, man, it's like people can't. I've seen you a number of times doing interviews and stuff, and it's always the same. The reverence that people have for you. At any point, do you get a little embarrassed about how people like, you the man, you did this, you did that, does that ever make you feel some type of way?
Not really. My thing is a little bit pressure because I don't want to let it down. Because if I give me those accolades after that, and for me to ever pull back on what I want to say, it's like that's just a letdown for me. It's like back to my integrity thing that we talked about earlier. It's like as long as I keep it real and speak from the heart and speak from the truth, whatever, my truth at least, then I'm comfortable for the most part. Yes.
Yeah, that's what it is, man. I appreciate you coming on the show, man, and sharing your wisdom.
Yes.
Is there anything besides the book that you got coming that people should be looking out for?
That's the next thing up. That's the next thing up for sure. Because the guy, I did another interview, I forgot what the professor's name earlier, but he was talking about me getting my truth out there and my philosophy. Because KRS is the first one that beat me that I wanted to do a record called My Philosophy, but he beat me to it. So that was perfect because I think my philosophical thought process is the most underrated aspect of my MC part of the equation because you're talking about subjects as opposed to really, really the deeper, bigger picture. So the fact that I naively just didn't put together, you can't expect your colonizer to ever give you the platform to free yourself, so to speak. So it's no doubt that the record company had a problem with me talking about some of the subjects I wanted to talk about. So my philosophy is more important to me now than ever because I know way more. I'm older and wiser, quite frankly. So I definitely want to get that out. And I would have had it. It would have been cool to do it at that time. But I think it worked out that me doing it now, I have much more to say and much more life experience that made it happen. So it makes more sense to do it now, quite frankly. I'm
with that. Do it now, man. If you need any assistance from me, man, just
Absolutely.
We locked in now, so yeah.
Yes.
Holla.
Yeah, you will definitely get a call. Definitely get a call, my brother.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kool, Mo, D. No more talk.